We were somewhere around Fontana, on the edge of the desert, when the snacks began to take hold. I remember saying something like, "I feel a bit lightheaded. Maybe you should drive." Suddenly, there was a terrible noise, and the sky was full of huge cars, all honking and screeching and driving around us. And a voice was screaming, "What are these vehicles?"
Huh? Did you say something?
Never mind. It's your turn to drive. No point mentioning these cars. Spencer will find out soon enough. We had 2 bags of chips, 75 candy bars, 3 2-liters, a 6-pack of cola, sparkling juice, beef jerky, cookies, and a various assortment of gummies and chocolates.
One toe over the line, sweet Jesus.
You poor fool! Wait till you see those cars.
Hey, let's give that guy a lift.
Wait! What? No! We can't stop here. This is car country.
Wow, I've never met TV stars before.
Is that right? Well, I guess there's a first time for everything. Get in. How long could we maintain, I wondered? How long before we go crazy? What would he think then? This desert was the home of the Fontana race. Would he make that connection when Spence starts screaming about huge cars coming down on us? Did I say that? Or just think it? Was I talking? Did they hear me?
It's okay. He's just admiring your shirt.
Maybe I better have a chat with this guy, I thought. Perhaps if I explain things, he'll rest easy. All right, listen, there's probably one thing you should understand. Can you hear me? I want you to understand that the man behind the wheel is Jimmy Spencer, not just some fan I found at the racetrack. He's from Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter though, does it? Are you prejudiced?
Heck no.
I didn't think so, because this man is extremely valuable. Anyway, 24 hours ago, we were sitting on a set at Auto Club Speedway, on the stage, of course, interviewing drivers and speaking nonsense. Hello? Yes? Okay. That was headquarters. They want me in Las Vegas at once.
Sounds like real trouble. As your colleague, I recommend we rent a really fast car with no top. We'll need snacks, lots of snacks and drinks. There goes my weekend. Because naturally, I'm going to have to go with you.
Well, why not? Anything worth doing is worth doing right. This is the NASCAR dream in action. Our show is different. A salute to the fantastic NASCAR lifestyle, but only for those with true insanity. And we are chock full of that, man.
Darn right!
Spencer understands this despite his mental handicap. Do you?
Yeah.
He said he understood, but I could see in his eyes that he didn't. He was lying to me.
Snacks! 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 Snacks!
Oh, right. Big bite. Big bite. Oh. Now, one for the Herminator. Oh.
What the heck are we doing out here in the middle of the desert? We need help! 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 Help!
Thanks for the ride, guys. See you in Vegas.
Hey, come back and have some beef jerky. Hey, move over, Spence. We better get out of California before this guy tells speed.
There are things we fear and things that we loathe, but Las Vegas is not among them. Once a year, NASCAR comes to Sin City to play in front of a full house. There is no place in the world like the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and no place in the world like Vegas. Progressive banking, side-by-side racing, and great finishes are what make this mile-and-a-half oval a destination for race fans. 7 different drivers have won the 11 races here, and odds are we'll see a new one today. Strap in, race fans. It's race day in Vegas. Oh, man, I'm not sure that this great crowd with us here in Vegas deserved to sit through that, but at least it was fun. Welcome, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day. Built by the Home Depot, we have Mr. Vegas himself, Jimmy Spencer, and about one of the strangest performances I've ever seen put on by Nationwide Series driver, the number 28, Kenny Wallace.
Hey, let me tell you what, this is a lot of fun. I want to thank Mike Thompson for doing that piece. Me and Spencer out in the middle of the desert, but look, enough of that. Let's talk about the day. First thing I want to point out is that this is the Shelby 427. It's a little bit longer because we don't match those cubic inches. See, 427 cubic inches. So this is an honor to Carroll Shelby. What a great race, the Shelby 427. Spence, that's a big cubic inch motor, man.
And the Carroll Shelby, what a great honor for Las Vegas and the Bruton Smith's company to honor him. I think it's great, but I didn't know there was a race here today. I get down here downtown at all these casinos, all the food. I had so much selection all weekend, I could care less about a race, but they are going to have one today.
And you are just lying something, Terry. Just lying.
Hey, JR.
Okay.
Did I tell everybody this? Matt the Brat Kenseth is going for 3 in a row.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth has a chance to make NASCAR history today by winning the first 3 races of the season. He's already got 2 down, and with 1 to go, let's get it inside and welcome in our good friend Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. What a wonderful day here in Las Vegas. Now, Matt Kenseth going for history, but I got to ask you about this race car because you can't make history with this race car by winning the race, winning the first 3 races of the 2009 season. But you don't seem like you're that happy with the car over the weekend. How is it?
No, it hasn't been very good so far. So where we qualified is actually about how we're running, which is pretty scary because we were pretty slow. So, you know, I don't know. We've been teasing Drew a little bit about being magic, so I guess we'll really see today. So hopefully Chip and Drew found some things last night, hopefully wrong with the car, made some changes that'll make it better today. We changed about everything on it because it was just not driving good at all yesterday.
You mentioned Drew Blickensderfer and Chip Bolin, car chief, crew chief. Talk about Drew's relationship with your car chief, Chip, because that's really important, and I think they're not getting really the respect they deserve this season, that so much that they've accomplished so far in 2 races.
Well, first of all, Chip's our engineer. If you call him a car chief, he'll be mad. But yeah, I mean, everybody's been working together, the whole team. It's not about 1 person or 2 people or 3 people. It's about the whole group. So they've done a great job, obviously, to start the season and preparing the cars and on pit road and doing the rest of the stuff. And I'm sure they'll do a great job today. So we got our work cut out for us. We're starting in the back, and like I said, we've been struggling, and we're hoping it's going to be a lot better today. We had a couple of our teammates that were really struggling as well. So we tried to look at the guys that were running good and use some of that information, and hopefully it'll make our car run better.
Well, I'm going to get your title right because you are leading the Sprint Cup Series Championship points. How does that affect the rest of the year? It's a great start, 2 wins, 20 bonus points. What would it mean to you to win 3 races in a row?
Well, that would be pretty cool, but honestly, it's about the farthest thing I'm from the front of my mind right now. I'm just thinking about hopefully getting this thing to handle better, and 427 miles today and trying to be patient and get our car to the front. So it's a very, very difficult place to pass at with this new pavement, and since they reconfigured it, we used to be able to pass really good here, but the reconfiguration has made it more difficult until the track gets wore in. So really got to try to be patient, but yet you have to run harder. You're going to get a lap down. So that's more what I'm thinking about right now, is how we're going to get our way, work somewhere toward the front.
We hope that you get over he's been a little over the weather with a lot of the West Coast, East Coast traveling. Matt Kenseth starts 40th today, but Johnny, when he started the Daytona 500, he started 39th that day. I don't think it means anything.
Not to Matt the Brat Kenseth. And here's another thing. 5 of the 11 races here have been won by drivers who were driving for Roush Fenway Motorsports at the time. Let's take a look at the track comparison between the last place that Matt Kenseth won and the place he's trying to win today. The Auto Club Speedway is 2 miles and Las Vegas is 1.5 miles. But Kenny Wallace, a whole different beast.
I got to tell you, last week in Fontana, you had to get in the corners, you had to slow the car down. Yesterday in the nationwide race, I was almost wide open the whole race. You have to really have a seat that fits you good. There's a lot of G-forces here, and you got to have a motor that's going to last because, this race is really tough on equipment.
Well, let's get down to where the rubber meets the road, and that's the racetrack, and check in with Hermie Sadler. Hermie, what's happening down there?
Man, I'm on the racetrack at turn 2 here at Vegas, JR. You heard Matt Kenseth say this new configured racetrack makes it hard for passing. Why? There's a lot of speed in this racetrack because of the progressive banking that you mentioned, JR. What exactly is that? That means the bottom groove here, 16 degrees of banking. You go up from this seam to this seam, it goes up to 18 degrees of banking. You go up a little bit higher, 20 degrees of banking. The higher up you go, the more banking you have, the more it helps you turn to go around this racetrack. And while we're talking about this track, let's take a lap around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Going to the start-finish line, we're riding with Carl Edwards. Very important to go out to the wall here on in turn 1 to get a wide arc down into the corner. Now, a lot of bumps through the middle of this corner. Turns 1 and turn 2, coming off turn 2. Really tight right there. The track falls off. You got to really watch being too tight right there. Going down the back straightaway into turn 3, a little bit smoother, but a lot of speed. Carl Edwards is hugging the white line, coming off turn 4. Other guys like Dale Jr. will be up at the top side of the racetrack. One more lap around Las Vegas. Again, Carl Edwards, last year's winners. Let's follow him again down to turn 1. Out of the gas a little bit early. Pick the gas up before you get to the center of the corner. Hard on the throttle, off of turn 2. Another lap down the back straightaway. He sets up for his entry into turn 3. Again, roll out of the throttle a little bit early. Back to the throttle hard before you get to the center of the corner. And off of turn 4, back to the start-finish line. And let's look, while we're looking at this racetrack, watch Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth. Jeff Gordon spins to the inside of the racetrack. Hard contact with the inside wall. Jeff Gordon says that's the hardest impact I've had in my racing career. You see it again right there. What a devastating blow. Right there, right into the flat part of the wall. Now that wall is flat because that's where the safety vehicles drive on and off the racetrack. But Las Vegas Motor Speedway has acted. Jeff Gordon showed some concern about not having the safer barrier. They added the safer barrier to the inside wall all the way down the inside of the backstretch at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and where the wall cuts in for the safety vehicles to minimize the impact of exactly where Jeff Gordon hit last year. So Jeff Gordon made the impact. Las Vegas Motor Speedway reacted. Now we've got safer barriers all the way around this racetrack, inside and out. JR?
Hermie, thanks a lot, and way to go, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, for taking that action after that hard hit. Now, Kenny Wallace, you were out on this track for 300 pretty hard miles yesterday.
Yeah, you know, this race is like being on the razor's edge. This track is so fast, but look, don't get me wrong, I love this place. I mean, you go a little bit in the middle of the track, you can really make some speed up there. But Spence, I got to tell you, running side by side, we seen in the nationwide race yesterday, we watched, you know, the wind. It was, you know, Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle, you know, and you know, Carl Edwards about lost it. So running side by side here, you got to give each other space. You can't be cramping down on somebody. You take the air off their spoiler, you spin them out. So it's a fast racetrack.
That's what you said, Kenny, speed. That's the key here. You know, fans, that's a very deceiving shot of Carl Edwards because you say, heck, he only looks like he's running maybe 100, 120 mile an hour. He's running close to 200 mile an hour entering these corners. These are not cookie-cutter racetracks. I get tired of hearing that all the time. We're going to Atlanta next week. We were in California last week. Not even close. Every track's got its own characteristics. Today, momentum, and comfort for the driver will be successful.
Now, a lot of drivers compare this racetrack to the Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. What do you guys think?
Well, I tell you what, this is a true mile and a half. You know, California it's just a really long racetrack. You just go down the straightaways, you're like, where's the corner?
Sort of like we were in the desert.
Yeah. This racetrack here, baby, you're like, here you are at this racetrack. Okay, here comes the other corner. I mean, you're on it, baby. Your heart's pounding. You're like, here comes the other corner. It's important to have a good fitting seat. You look at Jeff Gordon, he's in that thing lean. He's got the gangsta lean going on. He got that headrest up there. He's ready to go. He's got a good fitting seat.
And Kenny Wallace really does make those noises when he drives the car.
It's scary. It's scary.
Hey, stay with us for 2 more hours of fear and loathing in Vegas. We got a full show coming your way on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Both Busch brothers, because we're here in Vegas, Kyle and Kurt, and also Carl Edwards going to come by and talk to us. Stick with us.
Those were our puffs, you idiot.
Better be careful. I'll use this.
That's not even a real gun.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by Interstate Batteries. Over 200,000 dealers nationwide. Find one at interstatebatteries.com.
No matter where you are or what you do, there's nothing quite like coming home. And for two of the premier drivers in NASCAR's top series, Las Vegas is home. We're talking about the Busch brothers, and Wendy is standing by with Kyle.
Well, thanks, Johnny. This, of course, is the first time the Busch brothers have qualified 1-2 for this race. Kyle, who's had the pole the last 2 years, so this is a comfortable position. But, Kyle, you're going to have to give it up and go to the rear of the field, unfortunately, for an engine change. Just gives us a little bit more excitement working through the pack, huh?
It does. You know, starting 43rd, now you get to watch me pass cars instead of leading the most laps. We'd love to lead the most laps and make it a boring one, but, you know, it's going to be a tough race anyway. We knew that coming in. And, you know, the M&M's Camry was pretty decent yesterday. We scuffed the wall late in practice. I feel like the guys will get it back, and we should be good to go here, hopefully, and have a good start to the race. And we'll pick off some spots on pit road. The guys are always good there.
Now, here you are. You're getting ready to go to the drivers' meeting. Your hometown, basically, Las Vegas. You got to have a lot of friends and family here. Is it an exciting weekend more so than others? Maybe a little bit more extra emphasis on winning for you?
Well, everybody, I think, puts the extra emphasis on the winning, you know, more so than myself and Kurt do. But, you know, to me, it's just another race. It's another race that we've got to run here. It's a part of the points deal. So we need to come out of here with a solid day and, you know, work our way back up in the point standings. I think we're 18th or something now. So we need to get back to the top 10 by the time the sixth race comes around, just so then, you know, Martinsville and then going on into Texas and stuff, so we can get back to where we need to be.
Now, that's a good short-term goal, but long-term goal, man, I was a little bit surprised on your Formula One comments that you might be maybe entertaining that idea years down the road. You're so young, you could almost leave and come back before you were, what, 28 years old?
Yeah, you could. I mean, it depends on how many years you spend over there, how much money you steal from those guys. But, you know, the biggest thing is to just try to win championships here, try to win races here. And, you know, this year we've got a great shot to contend for both of them. Yesterday was a big screw-up on my part. So, you know, we've got to get back into that and, you know, start digging back and try to catch Carl there. But, you know, today is today. It's a new day, and hopefully we can get one here today.
All right, good luck out there. He's headed into the drivers' meeting. Of course, Kyle Busch moved from 38th to 18th in points after last week's third-place finish in California. He has a little bit of momentum on his side here at his hometown track. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. You know, qualifying day started out great for Kyle Busch, getting the pole position, but then they had to go to the back of the motor change. Let's take a look at where some of the other drivers qualified. And the guy trying to make history, Matt Kenseth, qualified 40th. If he won from that position, that'd be the farthest back anybody won from here before, but Matt Kenseth can get that done.
Yeah, and you know, only 4 of 11 races have been won here from the top 10. This guy won this race last year. Cousin Carl Edwards, you can't keep this guy down. That Aflac quacker will be rolling today, Johnny. Kenny?
And from El Cajon, California, 3-time champion Jimmy Johnson. And here's the deal. He's already won 3 races here. I mean, can he win a 4th one like his 4 championships? That car looks pretty. And here he is from Las Vegas, the hometown hero, Kurt Busch. And Kurt won his last race in Loudon, New Hampshire last year, looking to be the hometown hero and bring home the checkered flag.
Well, this has been the story so far this weekend. Let's take a look at some of the Toyota cars that qualified well, but then had to go to the back of the pack with engine changes. We heard from Lee White yesterday on NASCAR Live that they are embarrassed about the problem that they're having. They're doing everything they can to fix it, but these Toyota drivers with engine changes will go to the back of the field, and that's put some of the best in the business starting in the back of the field. Now, some tracks, like take a Daytona, for instance, you wouldn't care if you started in the back of the field, but drivers, what about this racetrack? Can you make it from the back and make it through the field?
You can.
Especially if you're Kyle Busch.
You're right. You can, Johnny. But the key here is that the track speed's so fast, everybody wants to get in a rhythm. Well, once you start first versus 43rd, you're already 10, 15 seconds back. You're almost a half a lap behind. So quickly you go around this track, Kenny. You get a guy like Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards that's hauling the mail. You can get lapped if there's no caution in first 25, 35 laps.
And let me make a very big point here. First of all these teams are good, but something about those top 10, top 15 teams, you heard Kyle Busch say it. If Kyle just passes the cars that he can pass, get a caution, you know, whatever, lap 20, you cannot believe these top 15 teams. He'll come out 10 spots ahead of where he come in, because I used to see it all the time. These top 15 teams, their pit stops are incredible. He'll gain 10 spots coming off of pit road, so be patient.
And the races can be won there, and you never know what's going to happen out on the racetrack, especially at a place like Las Vegas. Now, last year at Atlanta, Kyle Busch raised the roof with his first of 8 Sprint Cup Series victories. Now, if you want to raise the roof at Atlanta, we have a way that you can do exactly that. This year, you can sign up for a chance to rock the rooftop with Rutledge. Visit the speed stage at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on next Friday sign up to win a ticket upgrade to the luxurious Club One suite for Saturday and Sunday. Visit AtlantaMotorspeedway.com for more information, and don't forget to stop by the speed stage before trackside on Friday to sign up for your chance to win. No, you can't do that. And you don't have to do your hair like Rutledge either to win.
Mr. Excitement didn't get his nickname for nothing.
Jimmy's going right over to Dallenbach. Oh, and he's got problems with Wally.
And we all know what happened the last time Hermie got behind the wheel.
Now we know what you mean when there's trouble spots on the racetrack, Hermie.
We send the Right Turn twins out in the real world for go-karts and a different kind of hot lap. Around the Turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
You know, NASCAR breaks the cardinal rule at Vegas. What happens here today stays with you the rest of the year, and getting the largest traveling circus in sports from one side of the country to the other can be a logistical nightmare. 2 West Coast races back-to-back makes for a special challenge that different teams handle in different ways.
The way we do it now is we just send our truck straight over from Fontana here, and then we bring a multi-car hauler out and change all the parts out here. It's kind of nice not to have to send your trucks back and forth all the way back home and then back. That'd be really tough.
Well, each team has their own transporter, 11, 18, and 20, but our test trucks can carry up to 4 cars each. So it took 2 trucks to do that. Of course, the crew chiefs have to decide what cars they wanted, so they decided to use the same backup cars. So that definitely helped a lot in the decision making. So they only have to bring 3 cars out. The car tomorrow makes it a lot easier, but still, you got different cars for different tracks. It just takes a lot of planning. Just everyone working together is the biggest thing.
We were all going to race new cars at Hendrick Motorsports here in Las Vegas, but the 24 didn't. This is actually our Fontana car. So we flew out early Wednesday and worked on it some, worked on some details, turned around some mechanical stuff, new hubs and new brakes. It's way easier than trying to go home. There are a lot of miles from East Coast, so you don't want to go back and forth too many times.
Personnel is not bad. You know, every team pretty much has their own personal planes that fly back and forth. It creates some long hours, maybe Monday and Tuesday back in North Carolina, but the personnel is not as bad as if you find something that happened in California that went wrong with the car or like you would want to make better, that puts you in a unique situation of trying to get it put onto your Las Vegas car because it's already out here. The thing you don't want to have happen is if you found a motor problem or a real big part problem in California during the race, it'd be hard to change that out for Vegas.
I think it makes the most sense. Driving these trucks back and forth across the country like this, the number of times that we'd have to do it if we were to spread all these West Coast swings out. I think whatever you do, as long as you get consistent with it and the schedule is known well ahead of time and everybody has the opportunity to plan. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, so it's getting easier.
And truly, some of the unsung heroes of this sport are those transporter drivers that bust their butts to get the equipment from racetrack to racetrack. And now Hermie Sadler is standing by with one of the guys whose job it is to make this thing logistically work. Hermie?
Well, Robbie Lemons, Richard Petty Motorsports had 4 cars to try to get from California to Vegas, but they changed the schedule a little bit and put them back to back. Has that been a benefit to Richard Petty Motorsports?
It's definitely helped out a lot in the past. You know, being out here, going to California last week, coming over here to Vegas, great weather out here. The biggest thing is, you know, usually in the past we fly all the guys home. This year, Richard Petty Motorsports decided to let the guys stay out here at Vegas. The cars got out here, they left last Friday. The guys come into racetrack. Vegas was good enough to let us come out here, work on the cars, get them turned around so they had them ready to go Friday morning.
What do you do as a crew chief or a competition director? If you find something that California you want to implement in your cars and your car's already here, how do you get that done?
Yeah, actually the guys, you know, they learned some things out there they wanted to do, putting the race cars, so the crew chiefs all put their heads together. We're exchanging out parts before they sent the other cars back home. And, you know, it's going to be tough weather getting back to the East Coast, so there's a lot of snow back home, so it'll be probably Wednesday before the cars get there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does getting your team and crew and transporters back home on Wednesday affect your preparation for Atlanta?
Well, fortunately, the Atlanta cars, you know, we're looking real good. The guys back at the shop have done a great job preparing those cars, so by the time the crew chiefs get home, they'll have that stuff turned around ready to go.
And JR, something we take for granted is the fact these tractor trailers are always at the racetrack on Friday when we show up. But this week a little bit different, but with the cooperation of NASCAR, the racetracks, and a lot of hard work by the teams, everybody made it safe and sound.
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Back to Hermie in just a moment. But, guys, just how hard do you think these owners are looking at that, not only from a competition standpoint nowadays, but from an economic standpoint to say, okay, maybe I'll have a better car, but it's going to cost me so much money in this day and age to do it, so I'm going to do it this way. It costs me less.
Car of tomorrow. The end of story. NASCAR has implemented this car. Nobody want to get around it. It has been a big benefit for the owners, the crew members, and everything. And the reason why, there's a good example. You can run the same car. The templates, you don't have to worry about having a body move the 1/4 inch either way because it's going to be better. I think it's been a big benefit, Kenny, that's another thing that's helping out this sport right now.
And I'd like to bring up something that a lot of people are scared to talk about. Do you know how much it costs to take a team airplane, just, and haul your team from Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to Vegas or California? It's about $20,000, both ways. It can reach as much as $40,000. So you're like, okay, team members, let's get on the airplane. 20 to 40 grand. Richard Petty Motorsports, round of applause, and let me tell you why. They flew their team out commercial to Las Vegas. They all got rented vans. They all went over to California. They came back here, stayed here for the race, saved $50,000 in this downturn in economic climate. Good job, Richard Petty Motorsports. Way to watch your money and not waste fuel.
I know a way you can save money getting here to Vegas.
How?
You can rent a convertible Impala.
And win some money in blackjack.
And get some cheesy poops and just ride down the road.
We did have a good time, though.
This way I could ever find to get here. We're going to take another break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back, we still have another Busch brother to get to. It's Kurt down the road, and we'll also talk to Carl Edwards. There are iconic figures in this world, and Las Vegas is certainly among them. But perhaps one of the last true icons of the American automotive industry has his name on today's race. Jimmy Spencer is iconic for another reason altogether, but he got to take a ride in one of Carroll Shelby's creations, a Ford Shelby Mustang 427.
Carroll, this is an honor for me, first of all, to have the great Carroll Shelby driving a 427 Shelby. This is a dream come true for me.
Jimmy, you don't know how much it means to me to not only have my name on this race, but being a friend of Bruton for a long time, and I've always been nothing but a hot rodder. And I love Bill France and when he put everything together. So it's a real honor to me too.
Growing up, there was a dream for every young man to get his hands on a Shelby. And when you made the Shelby Mustang, it was just like, wow. And they just kept selling out, and you never could get one. And then the ultimate dream was the Cobra. And you had so much success with the Cobra and the GT 500.
Yeah, we had a lot of success. We won everything for about 6 or 7 years, and then Mr. Knutson left General Motors and came to Ford, and old Shelby was out, so I went to Africa for 12 years. And then we got back into the business, and here we are today, building the Mustangs again. At 86 years old with a heart transplant and a kidney transplant, how lucky could an old man be? When I go flat, I have no regrets.
I've read so much about you, and you give back a lot to the community. Your Carroll Shelby Foundation.
Well, I'm a very, very lucky guy, Jimmy. At 32 or 33 years old, I started having heart problems. And at 86 years old, I figured I better put something back. Anybody that's lucky, and if I'm not thankful for what God's given me, I ought to have my butt kicked. We try to build a certain number of cars, put the money in the foundation every year, and help kids with their transplantation. Our foundation helps in education. We have an automotive school in East Texas to train people for the automobile business. We send them to school, and in 2 years, they go from $7 an hour to $35 an hour, and they aren't on the dole.
That's the big thing. These cars, it's unheard of that you can get the performance of this Mustang in the stock production. Just go to Ford and order one.
Well, it comes from Ford with 540 horsepower. and then we bring it to our little facility here at in Las Vegas, here on the Speedway, and we put 700, we hop it up to 750 horsepower, change the brakes a little bit, change the suspension a little bit, and we still have a comparatively cheap car compared with all the competition, you know, that has anything like that in horsepower. I just don't let the Germans outdo us. I'm a hot rodder. I'm a redneck hot rodder.
They won't outdo us. How about a guy like you? Wow. I got the ride. Actually, Carroll Shelby sat next to me while I drove one of his 427 Shelbys. Let me tell you something. That is a thrill of a lifetime. Carroll, thank you so much, sir. It's an honor.
It's my thrill to be here riding with you, Jimmy. You know, we both love the same thing. No, at 160 miles an hour, how could we get scared?
Oh, man, thanks a lot, Carroll.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You see the look on Spencer's face? He looked like a little kid in a candy store. Now, Bruton Smith is the guy you have to thank for that, Jimmy, and also the guy we all have to thank here for such a great day at this racetrack, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now, Jimmy wasn't the only guy who got to take a very interesting ride this week. Also, Wendy Venturini did. Wendy, tell us about your ride.
Yeah, I had a thrill of my own, so to speak. In between California and Las Vegas, we took advantage of that time back on the East Coast. We headed over to East Lincoln Speedway in Stanley, North Carolina, and I took a little bit of a ride around East Lincoln Speedway, a dirt track nonetheless, with Ray Evernham in his dirt sprint car. Check this out.
Now I can't help but notice the two-seater over there. You know, I've seen you on dirt. You're not too shabby. I think we should go for a spin.
Well, that would be great because you will be the first person to go around East Lincoln as a guest in that thing. So we don't know whether it works or not. So if you'll be kind of our experiment with me, I'd appreciate that.
Let's rock.
If you're looking for Ray Evernham, you won't find him in the Cup Garage. You're going to find him here at East Lincoln Speedway. What a way to spend your day. A little dirt never hurts. That's the best advice I could give to all the girls watching out there at home. Now, you'll hear more from Ray Evernham later on in the show. He's going to be the feature of this week's Real Deal. We're going to see what Ray's been up to now that he's a track owner of a dirt track out there at East Lincoln Speedway. It's really interesting to catch up with him, the retired Ray Evernham. Johnny?
Let's hope we all retire to do stuff like race on dirt. You know, a lot of people still say asphalt's for getting to the speedway, dirt's for racing on. I think the folks out at East Lincoln, they believe that. We'll be back with much more NASCAR race day from Las Vegas, Nevada when we come back. Well, we know one thing for sure. When you come to Vegas, you got to make the most out of your trip. And Carl Edwards did exactly that last year. He came here, won the race, and that was a sign of things to come.
This weekend has been a bit of a challenge for the Sprint Cup drivers.
We're going to have winds maybe in the area of 55 miles an hour today. This could be a really interesting and long day for these competitors. It's time for Las Vegas to take center stage.
Just have a good fun day. Kenny, everybody, thanks for being here. Love you.
43 cars set to go after $6.4 million. The green flag is waving. Kyle Busch at this point has led 43 laps and now is counting.
Now the rear end's starting to lose a little bit, and I'm getting kind of neutral again. A little bit free into one, but neutral.
Calm down, we'll be all right. We just got to keep working on it, dude.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on a little bit of a roll right now. He's going to try to track down Matt Kenseth and take over the third spot.
88's the leader. I got to find him here. No worries. Keep doing what you're doing.
Now Edwards dives to the inside. Carl Edwards gets the nose ahead. Edwards is going to lead.
You and Carl and Greg were running 2/10 faster than the field.
Unfortunately, there's a tire that got away. I'm not sure which pit it came from. It might have been Carl Edwards' pit.
We had a tire roll back out on the infield again there, and people got in our way when we were trying to get it, so we couldn't get it.
Kenseth racing side by side for second off turn 2. Trump Jr. Kenseth spinning off turn 2. Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth spinning down the middle of the back straightaway.
It'll be up to Carl Edwards to bring him to the green flag for a 2-lap shootout. Last Monday, Carl Edwards took the checkered flag in California. This time he cashes in big in Las Vegas.
All right. Way
amazing the way he does those backflips. It looks like he isn't tired at all after driving all those miles. We're going to hear from Carl Edwards in just a moment, but now let's get some news with Wendy Venturini.
Well, thank you, Johnny. And what we're going to get to is who's going to the rear of the field today, because there are 5 cars, all of them Toyotas, all of them for engine changes. Let's start with the TRD engine group. We have Scott Speed, and we have Scott Speed going to the back, the 00. Marcus Ambrose is going to the back of the pack. We saw so many engines being taken out of these race cars this weekend, all 4 of them for TRD, and all 4 of those were from cam and lifter issues. They are rectifying that problem with some extra lubrication today during the race. Now, here's the interesting part. Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch was on the pole. He will be going to the rear of the field for an engine change earlier in the weekend. It was actually the 3rd lap of practice, and what happened with that was not related to what happened to the TRD engines at all. It was a problem that happened right off the bat and unrelated, so you Toyota fans of Kyle Busch don't have to worry about what's going on at TRD. It is unrelated, 2 different engine departments there. Now, on top of that, Kyle Busch had even more problems going on, and that happened on the racetrack in the final few minutes of happy hour yesterday. Kyle Busch scraped the wall, flat-siding the right side of his car. The team, they went to work. They took off that M&M's wrap, they fixed the car, did some body work to it, and then they put a brand new wrap on that race car bright and early this morning. Now, the funny thing, Johnny, is when they were coming to the racetrack yesterday, there's A-Team, B-Team guys. The B-Team guys arrived yesterday, Saturday. They were in jeans and dress shirts. They thought they were going to go to the Strip and hang out in Las Vegas. No. Kyle Busch, when he smacked the wall and a little kiss of that wall, those fabrication guys came over here to the Speedway. They look like average citizens, normal race fans coming off the street, coming in and working on Kyle's car. It was an interesting afternoon watching those guys, but they did a great job. The car's looking new, and it's a little bit windy out here today. Can you tell, Johnny?
Absolutely. Wendy, thanks a lot. And that's an interesting story because those guys do put in the hours getting these race cars ready. They're the hardest working guys in professional sports. And guys, how much are these guys worrying about these engines now? That the Toyota situation has been escalating all weekend long, and now they got to go out there and try to race 427 miles with an engine that may be on the borderline.
Well, it started last week in California, and the thing is these guys are trying to just extract as much horsepower as they can out of these cars. Naturally, the best way to do it is with a lubricant. It's obvious they're not using castor oil. If they were using castor oil, they wouldn't have this problem, Kenny. Point being, they do not have enough. They're down to almost like water in the engine to help lubricate, and it doesn't work well.
And a big problem is, listen, they're turning over 9,500 RPMs, okay? Back in the day, I'm saying 10 years ago, maybe if somebody turned 8,800, especially Yates, is like, oh, Yates is turning 8,800. Then all of a sudden, Penske went out and found some new metallurgy, these real lightweight pistons, light rotating parts, okay? Inertia, get on the gas, it moves fast. So now these guys are taking these valve springs and man, they're churning them up. So now they're trying to figure out at Toyota how to get these parts to quit failing and quit galding up. So they got to work on their spray of the oil, make sure everything gets lubricated right, or maybe they're drowning themselves. Maybe they got too much oil in them. We don't know. But it has to do with too much horsepower, too many RPMs. Hey, Henrik is making it live.
Not enough lubricant.
All right, well, they're definitely going to be keeping an eye on that because they have a long way to go on a very tough speedway, very tough on the engine stay and the drivers as well. We've got to take another quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back, we sent a team out. We got an APB out on Carl Edwards. We're going to find him and bring him on the show.
A week ago, he etched his name in the record books as the winner of the Daytona 500. Now, for the 3rd time at the Auto Club Speedway, Matt Kenseth has won here in Southern California.
The Brat's on fire, and he joined elite company with his opening wins. What does the double down mean for his title chances? We'll let you know. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
It's time for another racing question from Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. The question is, how much must a NASCAR stock car weigh? And Spencer's over there waving his hand, says he's got the answer.
I got the answer. 16 ounces to the pound.
Or with you in it, it will weigh more.
No, it still will be.
That's not. Now, if you want to find out, go to Ask.com. That is the official search engine of NASCAR, or you can probably just ask Jimmy Spencer later. He'll give you some type of.
No, Ask.com.
Yeah, it might not be right, but all right, ask and you shall receive. We asked for Carl Edwards a moment ago, and we got him. Hermie Sadler is standing by with cousin Carl. Herm?
I do have Carl and Carl. Before we even talk about any racing, how about these fans here in Las Vegas? We're just outside the driver's meeting, huh?
It's unbelievable. They're everywhere. It's cool. This whole neon garage is cool, and the weather's great. The fans are wound up. It's going to be a fun race.
Let's talk 1 second about last year. Obviously, you guys won this race in convincing fashion. Then you had the controversy about the oil lid and all that. Seems like from the outside looking in, it put a little bit of a chip on the old shoulder and really propelled you guys to a strong season.
Yeah, it sure made me want to win again. I didn't want that to be the last race we won last season. So, yeah, it wasn't good. I'll never forget when Bob came down and said, we got a little issue with the tech inspection. But hopefully we can come back here and win this thing today and not be cheating. That'd be great. Which we weren't cheating. We just got caught with a part that wasn't right. It really is a cool race.
It's a technicality.
It's a technicality. If we were cheating, we'd have done a better job. This track is a lot of fun. There's a lot of fast cars here today, and I don't know how good our car is, but I hope it's good enough, because it really was a cool thing to win here. With this energy and all these people, there's like 1,000 people in Victory Lane. It's a cool place to win.
Talk about this racetrack. They changed it a lot like Homestead, the progressive banking, a lot of speed on this racetrack. How difficult is it to pass running that fast?
It was real difficult to pass yesterday, but these Cup cars are different. With the car tomorrow, not as much downforce, a ton of horsepower, and with this temperature being this high, I think the track's going to be real slick. There's going to be multiple grooves. Nobody even got to the top yesterday. And I mean, you know how it is. That top will come in, and I think it's going to be pretty easy to pass.
Last question, a new tire combination on the left side. Can you tell any difference driving-wise between last year and this year?
It is a little different. I think it's easier to drive this year. The cars are more stable, which can be good or bad. It might make it actually harder to pass because of that. But I liked the tires last year. I helped them with the test this year. I'm happy with the tires they brought. As long as they last, they'll be great.
And that's Carl Edwards outside the drivers' meet here with a lot of Carl Edwards and NASCAR fans, JR. I know it's a downturn in the economy, but these people have turned out in droves here at Las Vegas.
Hermie, thanks a lot. And one of the interesting things about Carl Edwards' career, half of his wins have come on these 1.5-mile ovals. And you got to say, the crowds out here at Las Vegas are absolutely tremendous. Got a huge crowd out here at the speed stage with us, great crowd inside, and we can't wait for the Shelby 427 this afternoon.
Ray racked up wins and titles, then stepped away from the spotlight. What keeps the former boss busy these days? Wendy finds out.
Really started me thinking about what do I really want to do with my life? Is it about collecting trophies? Is it about doing things like that? Or maybe I can use some of that to do something good. So now I'm doing a little bit for me.
Stay tuned. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
For the 12th time, NASCAR's Top Series has come to Sin City, Las Vegas, and this is now race number 3 of the season, and we got to find out who's going to be king. Will it be Carl again as he tries to go for back-to-back wins at this 1.5-mile oval? And what about hometown hero Kyle Busch as he has a rough weekend so far? He's ready to try to take his first ever checkered flag away from this track. But if he's going to do it, he's going to have to get by the hottest driver in the land right now, and that is Matt Kenseth. Earlier, he spoke with Wendy Venturini, and Matt says it's all teamwork.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been working together, the whole team. It's not about, one person or 2 people or 3 people. It's about the whole group. So they've done a great job, obviously, to start the season and preparing the cars and on pit road and doing the rest of the stuff. And I'm sure they'll do a great job today. So we got our work cut out for us. We're starting in the back. And like I said, we've been struggling, and we're hoping it's going to be a lot better today. We had a couple of our teammates that were really struggling as well. So we tried to look at the guys that were running good and use some of that information, and hopefully it'll make our car run better.
Now, when Matt took the checkered flag at Fontana, he became just the 4th driver ever to win the first 2 points-paying races of the season. And by doing that, he joins some pretty elite company. He joins the King, Cale, and the kid, Jeff Gordon, when he did it back in 1997. They are all multiple Sprint Cup champions, and that's the kind of company Matt Kenseth wants to be in.
Almost 100,000 strong, ready and waiting for the start of the 1973 Daytona 500.
Richard Petty had already won 4 Daytona 500s by 1973. And throughout most of the race, it looked like Buddy Baker would keep him from number 5.
And on the high banks, Buddy Baker is the boy to catch. He has that number 71 K&K Dodge wound out tight.
But with 12 laps to go, Richard Petty beat Baker out of the pits to take the lead.
Maurice and the crew give him just enough to finish. Out in 9 seconds.
And as fate would have it, with 6 to go, Baker's day was done.
Buddy Baker's engine looks like it's going south. Smoke streaming out the back. Buddy Baker, with such a few number of laps left to go, is out of it.
With Baker out of the way, it was smooth sailing for the King.
This is Petty Country again today. The checkered flag is out, and Richard Petty has won the Daytona 500.
The next week at Richmond, Petty beat out Baker once again, scoring his 150th career victory. 4 years later, it happened again. After finishing second at Riverside, defending champ Cale Yarborough dominated the Daytona 500.
Well, what a beginning for the year 1977 it'll be for William Caleb Yarborough, Timmonsville, South Carolina. He won the NASCAR season-long championship last year, and now he wins the Daytona 500.
It's been a good week, Chris. We took everything they thrown at us.
And then dominated a rain-shortened race at Richmond on the way to his second of 3 championships in a row. It would take 20 years for this rare back-to-back to occur for a third time. Now, it was Jeff Gordon's turn as he kicked off the season with a victory at NASCAR's premier event.
You are the greatest race driver I have ever seen.
Gordon parlayed his Daytona win into 2 in a row at Rockingham.
Jeff Gordon, prior to today, 1 win at the Rock. Now he has 2. Jeff Gordon wins the Goodwrench Service 400.
And added 8 more wins on his way to NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship number 2. 2009 knows just 1 winner so far, number 17, Matt Kenseth. The possibilities are endless for this back-to-back winner and former Cup champ who's looking to hoist that trophy at season's end one more time.
Now, of course, if you win the first 2 races of the season, you're going to be the points leader. But look who's right behind Matt Kenseth. It's Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Tony Stewart with his new team, the famous number 14 now we're calling it. He's in the 4th spot.
A lot of surprises there when you think Kurt Busch missed his chase last year. Tony Stewart and a new team, incredible. But I'll tell you, Biff, right where he needs to be. Surprises. Look at this. Juan Pablo up there, Elliott Sadler, A.J. Allmendinger, Kenny, David Ruderman, cool.
Well, it's important to be consistent at the start of the year. You have to be solid to lock yourself in the top 35 in the points. So, log these laps, start racing really hard later on when you can take some chances, but not right now.
Here's some other notable drivers and where they're running in points right now. You see Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, 18 and 19, 27, 31, and 35th. Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in what you call that transfer position. He's just 1 point inside the top 35. And of course, the first 5 races of the season go by last year's owner points. This year's points don't take over until the 5th race of the season, until after the 5th race of the season. So do you worry if you're Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now?
Oh, I think you definitely worry if you're Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's face it, Johnny. I mean, you got guys already, you're 200 points back. Well, not quite 200 yet, but if you have another bad week, you could be outside this top 35. No security at all, because if you're out, you got to get in on speed. You're on one of them go or go home cards.
I heard there was a new rule. Hold on. Ding, ding, ding. Mike Helt just said they're making the Dale Earnhardt rule. Dale Earnhardt in every race from here on.
And that's the second real big lie we've heard today.
The fans like that one, though.
Didn't you see
the fans like it?
Didn't you see the opening of the show? I had to go with them. That was scary, John.
Scary for you. What about other guys that were in that car as well? So what is the secret for Matt Kenseth to keep this streak going? Let's now get the Napa good stuff with Booty Barker.
So y'all want the good stuff? I'm going to give it to you. So Matt Kenseth fell off a building in the offseason, hit his head and learned how to drive? I don't think so. Matt Kenseth is a championship driver. He's won races, and he's one of the most consistent people out here on the circuit. So what did change? Roush hired him a new crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, and he moved Chip Boland from lead crew chief to engineer. Now, why did this make a difference? It put Chip in a more comfortable position, so it gave him a better foundation. But that wasn't the real change. I think when they brought the crew chief in that Matt wanted, it obviously made a big improvement. And how? Well, Drew has to be smart. He's won the last 2 nationwide races he's in, and he's won the first 2 cup races. So what he's able to do is understand Matt, give him the changes he wants, and make the car faster. How does he do that? He takes all the information behind him from people like Chip, and he accumulates it and spits it out in a way that makes the car go fast. Now, all this is well and good, but if they don't get along, it makes no difference how smart Drew is, how good a driver Matt is, how good a team is around them. how good the pit stops are, everything. Because when it all boils down to is that crew chief-driver relationship. That crew chief believing in that driver and the driver giving it back to him. And over time, you have to have that relationship stay strong. So right now, while everything is fresh, Drew and Matt are all peaches and cream. But as things go on, you're really going to see what happens over the test of time.
Booty, thanks a lot. Let's not forget that Booty Barker's making a big difference as crew chief of this number 55. They roll off 15th, and right now they find themselves in the top 10 in points. When we come back, we'll get the real deal with the guy voted the greatest crew chief ever as Wendy takes a few laps with Ray Evernham.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now, our first week on NASCAR Race Day, on The Real Deal, we caught up with Tony Stewart, owner and driver. Last week, we followed Matt Kenseth after winning the first two races of the 2009 season. And in this week's Real Deal, we caught up with one of the most innovative men in NASCAR. Here is this week's Real Deal. Voted the greatest crew chief of all time in 2006 by the Motorsports Media, Ray Evernham has left his mark in the Sprint Cup Series. In 1993, Evernham would team up with then racing phenom Jeff Gordon under Hendrick Motorsports. The Rainbow Warriors would go on to win 47 races and 3 Sprint Cup titles over the next 6 years. In 2000, Evernham was presented with an opportunity to start his own team and bring Dodge back into the series after 15 years of absence. His Cup teams won 13 races, but after more than 15 years in the sport, Ray has decided to step away and do some different things.
First off, Ray, we're here in Stanley, North Carolina at East Lincoln Speedway, a track you recently bought into. This seems to be the way business ventures are going these days, isn't it?
Oh, boy, I don't know if it's a good business venture. You know, most short track promoters will tell you that. But it's kind of a labor of love. You know, there's, you know, if you look at what Tony and Dave Blaney and some of the guys are doing, you know, we want to try and save the short tracks across America. And I've always had a love for dirt racing. So this one was right here, and I thought in my retirement, what a great thing to do.
When you look at this track, why is this project become your new passion? It's not really a new passion, it's just a new opportunity.
You know, something told me, look, if you really want to put your money where your mouth is and do something to help the community and do something to help short track racing and have a good time, this was the place to do it at. And, you know, I knew that the place was coming up for sale, and I thought, man, I need to get involved so this doesn't turn into another strip mall or a housing development.
Was there ever an exact moment where you put your finger on it, where this is where you wanted to turn towards?
I think as you grow in years and you have accomplishments, life starts to change. You know, I didn't even realize it until somebody asked me, you know, 3 or 4 months ago, what was the turning point? And truthfully, you know, the day that we lost all the people on the Hendrick plane really started me thinking about, what do I really want to do with my life? Is it about collecting trophies? Is it about doing things like that? Or maybe I can use some of that to do something good. So now I'm doing a little bit for me. And if I want to come here on a Saturday night instead of going to the Cup races, I think I can have just as much fun. And who knows, we might see the next Tony Stewart or Jeff Gordon here.
All right, I need you to set the record straight, because Jimmy Spencer on NASCAR Race Day on the Bud Shootout show in February made a comment, if you can imagine that.
When race started to go here, and there, it started to default. The team started to fall apart. Petty's not going to allow that to happen.
Jimmy and I have talked about those comments, and you know, just you know, the facts are, I was basically headed towards retirement from Gillette Evernham at that time, and the last race that I was on the box happened to be the Coke 600 that Casey won, and then headed down into retirement. That's a plan that George Gillette and I had made. It wasn't anything going on. You know, I was going to start working my way out. I'm still a consultant to them and help them. Haven't really lost interest in NASCAR. I just feel like I've got to help in other areas. You know, when I came in here and wandered around in that grandstand, you know, I saw the same passion that I saw at Daytona. There's kids out there that they know they're coming here to race on Saturday night. You know what? Longer than I want to admit ago, I was that kid.
Well, thanks for setting the record straight, and of course, we'll take care of Spencer. Don't worry about that. What's been your fondest memory of your NASCAR life, so to speak?
You know, that's really hard, because I had to ask Chad Knaus that question, and I knew what he was going to say. It's really hard. I think it was just that part that whole experience of being one of the Rainbow Warriors, being part of that team, you know, I can't pick one race, but when you look back and that feeling of teamwork and commitment and being able to work with all those guys, those were the good old days.
Is there anything you would have changed throughout those good old days?
I would have put more gas in the night that we ran out leading to Winston. Other than that, you know, that's
No
the one
regrets
that's
other than
still,
that.
other than missing by a gallon of gas that night, that's the one that still gets me.
You can let it roll off your shoulders, can't you now? Is this dirt track going to keep you busy enough? Because you are a busy man. You stay on the run quite a bit.
Yeah, and I can't stop that. You know, I'm still pretty busy. You know, everybody's got a golf game where they go fishing, or there's a point in time where you just, you know, some people do 2 or 3 days work at a local hospital or do something. So I look at this as my golf game, my fishing, my charity.
Your charity work.
All in one.
Well, that's good.
Well, one thing's for sure, it looks like Ray Evernham's having a great time at East Lincoln Speedway. And you know, here on the 24 Pit Box, this was the home for Ray for so many years, making calls for Jeff Gordon. Of course, now this is the seat of Steve Letarte. But nonetheless, Ray Evernham has had a great career in the NASCAR Cup Series. And Jimmy, I cleared the air for you by talking to Ray. I took care of your dirty work. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Wendy, I always can count on you. That was a great interview, too. And my point was that Ray was burned out. We're good friends. Heck, we raced together up in the New Jersey, New York area, Pennsylvania. It's very easy to say that I'm just going to take it easy and do my job. Ray never done that. Ray always gave it 100%. He worked his tail off. Cost him a lot in his personal life. End result, he changed his sport forever. Kenny, I remember when he had his car banned at the Winston, the All-Star event, the next up what's on. And, you know, when you reach that competitive level and you say, you know what, I've done it all, I've got to look elsewhere, I give Ray credit for saying, you know what, it's time to just slow down here, do some other things. I think it was pretty cool.
2 quick stories. Ray Evernham was so intense in his early days. You know, when he would take Jeff Gordon, first of all, you got to remember, he created Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon. Yes, they were good drivers, but Ray said, look, I will make you a Cup winner. So he does. He takes Casey Kane, he's a winner. You know, he takes Jeff Gordon, he's a 4-time champion. But listen to this story real quick. Talk about details. He told Jeff Gordon, Jeff, let's take the truck, the trailer, the crew members, let's load up and go out to Concord Speedway. And Jeff's like, why? He says, I want to practice you getting out of the pits at Martinsville. What do you mean? Well, you know, sometimes you get caught in the pits and you turn the wheel right, you can't get out. So he taught Jeff Gordon how to release the clutch real quick and spin the car, you know, whoop, out of the pits. Now, stop and think about this. What other crew chief would say, let's load up and go out here to Concord, the little short track, with our big Cup car and our $1 million sponsors to just teach you how to get out of the pits. Now, that's detail. And one other thing, like me, Tony Stewart, and Kenny Schrader owning Macon Speedway, that's what Ray Evernham's seen. His job now is to save dirt racing, and we've been trying to do that for years. I want to thank all the fans for going out to East Lincoln and coming to racetracks like Macon Speedway. Congratulations to Ray Evernham for doing things for other people now instead of himself.
And we usually try to keep the personal things out of this, but we do want to say one thing. Ray Evernham was the first guy in NASCAR to give me the time of day, and that's I'm eternally grateful for that. Way back in the day, it was, yes, sir, Kenny.
And I told Felix Sabates to hire Ray Evernham before he ever become Jeff Gordon's crew chief. You know what Felix Sabates said to me? I never heard of a Ray Evernham. He does now.
Everybody's heard of him. Right. Yeah,
changed the sport forever.
Yep, certainly one of the greatest crew chiefs of all time, and a great guy to have around this sport. And right now we're going to go to Hermie Sadler and check in with him. Hermie, what's happening?
Hey guys, you know, a couple years ago, my brother Elliott Sadler was driving for Robert Yates Racing. He made the switch, went over to Ray Evernham Motorsports at the time. And I remember Elliott telling me one of the first times I talked to him after his first interview with Ray Evernham, and he said, Hermie, you cannot believe the knowledge this guy has and the drive and the determination that this guy has. That was very inspiring. And it seems like somewhere along the line when he had to sell part interest of his race team in the better interest of the race team to get investors involved, he seemed to lose some of that focus or some of that desire. I think Ray Evernham is a guy that needs to be motivated, and when he's motivated and focused on what he wants to do, there's no smarter guy anywhere in this business. So it wouldn't surprise me in the next 4 or 5 years we see him come back in, maybe start another project and work his way back up. But I just remember Elliott telling me he's never spoken to a guy with more knowledge that was more competitive than Ray Evernham.
Hermie, thanks a lot. I just like to see Wendy in the back of that sprint car riding around on that dirt. That looked awesome, man. That was great. We're going to take another quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back to Vegas, we still have one more Busch brother to talk to. And look at Spencer's trying to sneak into the track without paying.
Viva Las Vegas.
Carol Shelby and Wendy Venturini got to ride with Ray Evernham. So we couldn't leave Hermie Sadler out as he took to the go-kart track with Kurt Busch.
Well, Kurt, the first annual Sprint for the Kids. First of all, tell us about the event tonight. It's for Victory Junction Game Camp, an indoor baseball facility going up.
It's been a lot of fun working with everybody that helps us at the Kurt Busch Foundation and everybody at Victory Junction Game Camp. Just trying to make an impact in as many places as we can by giving back to the communities and putting together fun events for people to get involved in. I think that's a key thing, is when people could come out, race karts against other Cup guys. That doesn't happen every day, so we're keeping it fun.
I've been around here once, and I didn't do so hot. So the biggest thing that I know that the trick is to move as many barriers as you want to get the line that you want. So just keep moving them out of the way.
Robin Leach, first of all, thank you for coming out to the Kurt Busch Foundation event. Great cause for a lot of great kids.
It's a great event, a good turnout for the first time. And I think it's wonderful that two hometown heroes are giving back to the community that they grew up in.
I know you're a big video game guys. Did that give you any kind of advantage, and how much testing have you been doing here at pole position?
Now, no, I haven't done any testing. I did just run a few practice laps.
A few practice laps.
That's right, and looking good so far. So,
look, he's already on the board back there.
Number one. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
I got black flagged for not hitting anybody. The guy gave me the black flag. I don't like it when they can control the power of your kart from outside the track.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Team Jasco.
A lot of fun, though, for a great cause. I mean, a great turnout also.
It's fantastic. Just the people here, the smiles on their faces, and the family atmosphere. That's what this reminds me of. Going to the racetrack Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the time. It's because your family got you into this, and that's what's going on right now.
Everybody's having a great time here tonight. A lot of excitement on the racetrack, but a lot of competitive racing going on.
And by the way, Hermie Sadler, we sent you out there to represent NASCAR Race Day, and what do? You get black flagged, and then you complain about it? What's going on, Hermie?
I took the place of Jimmy Spencer, so if I get black flagged, I'm supposed to complain about it. But I'm going to talk to the man in charge. I have launched an independent investigation as to why I was black flagged in the event the other night. I'm really mad about it.
There was a few black flags getting handed out, and I even got one. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm running this event. I guess
I'm not supposed to black flag you.
I was speeding on pit road, I guess. Thought I could make up some time down there. Follow my buddy Kenseth, I guess.
A great event, in all seriousness, raised a lot of money, and the fans, unbelievable turnout, and they were into that event all night.
They were, and you should have seen just the faces on everybody and the reactions from the drivers. The drivers were as intense as anybody, and they were wanting to help their team and try to shave off time and bring home the trophy. But yet everybody won at the end of the night. It was just a great event, raised a lot of money for the Kurt Busch Foundation, and just events like that make it all come full circle.
And talk about this weekend, obviously a great qualifying run, and you guys have been chipping away at it on these kind of racetracks. Can today be your day?
It feels like it, but we still have work to do. We have a long race ahead of us. We start on the front row. I want to lead that first lap for the hometown crowd, but that's not the important one. We got to be there at the end of the race, and my Miller Lite Dodge is feeling strong. I've got a great team that was giving me good pit stops last week. We just got to keep chipping away at it. It's early in the year, but we've got smiles on our faces.
A great start to the season, obviously a great run at Daytona and California. Has it been one particular thing that's helped turn it around, or just a combination of things?
I think it's just working hard last year when we missed the chase to build downforce into our cars for these types of tracks, and building the engine stronger, pit crew is stronger, the setups are stronger. Yeah, it's everywhere, and I feel like we still could use more in every area because we've improved that much.
These guys have been smiles all weekend. A good hometown weekend for the Bush brothers. They're on the front row. But Kurt Busch, very strong this season. He'll be the same way today, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Looked like that was a lot of fun for a good cause, and that's the idea back here in Las Vegas. We got to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to take you a closer look at this racetrack, but also we're going to say who we think is going to win this thing. And there's your pole-sitting car. It's got to go to the back of the pack, but watch him come through the field.
How long do we have?
As your colleague, I advise you to drive at top speed.
It was going to be very close.
Well, there's no doubt in our minds that this crowd here at Las Vegas has been one of the best we've seen so far this year. So now it's time for our best Western, the best and the rest. And let's start out with the best, guys. Let's face it, what we've seen on the racetrack this year in terms of competing amongst teams to get the last spots in these races has been pretty cool.
Well, and Johnny, the thing is that the reason why it's good is this car of tomorrow. This thing is coming to fruition, NASCAR's theory. Anybody can start a team, the balance of the rules. The thing is though, this part-time teams, the 78 being part-time, the 13 of Max Pappas being part-time, both these guys come here, put the car in the race, great deal. Bad side, Tommy Baldwin Racing, and also the 41 of Jeremy Mayfield goes home. Two teams want to run full-time, two guys part-time. Kenny, I still think it's good for the sport.
Quickly, I must say that qualifying is a show. To me, they could take the top 35 in the points and line them up. The garage area, let me let you in on a little secret. The garage area comes to a standstill once the top 35 have went. All the crew members, they rush to the monitors. They want to see devastation. Who's going to miss the race? There's a lot of that goes on in the garage area. They could just take these go-homes and just qualify them, and that'd be it.
Fans, 1/1000th of a second, they go home. 1/1000th.
And that is amazing.
Incredible.
So that's the best so far this season. What about the rest? And the rest has been this Toyota engine issue.
Oh man, this Johnny is big. You know, Gibbs and Joey Arrington built Toyota engines, not having problems. This is TRD California. Definitely have a lifter issue, a lubrication issue, Kenny. Obviously, they're using the wrong lubricant. They're experimenting with lubricant, trying to find horsepower. Not good in the sports situation where they're trying to sell Toyotas and dependability. Right now, not looking good for Toyota.
And let me let all of you in on what Lee White said. Lee White is in charge of Toyota. He said yesterday, and we all went, wow. He said, we're embarrassed. We're like, wow, what a big statement to come out of such a big player. Lee White, a big man, blonde hair. We're embarrassed. Our motors are looking bad. So I tell you what, there's trouble in River City over there. They're going to get that fixed.
Yeah, and they said they're going to work on it and are going to fix that problem, and you can count on them to do just that. Let's now go to Hermie Sadler, who is standing by with the guy who, no matter what happens, always has a smile on his face. Hermie?
Yeah, well, I've actually got two guys here from Michael Waltrip Racing driving Toyotas. We'll start with David Rudiman. A good, solid qualifying effort in the Aaron's car. Unfortunately, got to go to the back. Can you pass all those cars?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's we got a great Aaron's Dream machine. The guy's done a great job. The car's been really good since we unloaded, but this place is not the easiest place to pass on. So starting back there, we have our work cut out for us, that's for sure.
And Marcus, I got to tell you, I like you because you talk funny like me. So you got to go to the back too. But a fast race car, you guys have made a lot of progress this year.
Yeah, just so excited. We got Kingston on the car for the very first time this year. We're really pumped about that. Had a great qualifying. We've got to start the back with David too. So we're in for a long day, but hopefully work out.
And I've been working on one, hadn't had a whole lot to eat. Can you help me out?
I can. I've been hanging around Michael Waltrip way too long. So I'm going to throw in a really blatant sponsor plug here. I wanted chrome wheels on my new brownies, but Michael Waltrip bags those. So I want to give you a box for our brand new race car brownies from Little Debbie.
I'll take them and we'll go to Wendy, but have you got a tractor trailer load for Jimmy Spencer?
Yeah, I got a whole carton.
Yeah, that ain't going to be enough, but that'll be a good start. Wendy?
Well, thanks, Hermie. From an Australian accent to an Italian accent, we got a little Max Pappas over here making the Sprint Cup race here in Las Vegas. We like having, we're going to call this the international segment. Congratulations to you, Max, for making the race today.
Thanks, it's a blast. You know, it was incredible to get the Geico car in the field. And let me first say hi to my family at home. I know you're watching. I love you all. And you know, it's a special day. You know, like first oval race for me, Sprint Cup. You know, actually being there in the driver meeting and actually belong there, you know, not just having to ask if I could actually have a seat or not. It's pretty special, you know, it's a great day for me. I'm really proud.
Now, Jimmy Spencer was just saying on our show, you're one of these part-time teams. You have 18 races scheduled, is that correct? What are your plans here on the Sprint Cup side with Germain Racing?
No, we're going to run the Geico number 13 in actually 20 races this year, and we're going to run the Geico truck in 6 races. You know, our program is developing Germain Racing and myself the knowledge about what we need, and hopefully, you know, step in, you know, into next year and maybe run, you know, maybe more than that. And I'm just blessed for what's happening with me, and I'm one of the, you know, every time I wake up in the morning, I say I'm one of the luckiest guy on earth. Great day, you know, being here at the racetrack, sharing everything I've done with all these race fans is just incredible, and you know, it means the world to me because I worked really hard to come all the way here, and I need to say thanks to Geico for bringing me all the way here, and thanks to Toyota as well.
All right, good luck to Max Pappas. We're glad to see him here. And you know, his wife Tatiana, they just had their second son Mateo on February 14th, of Valentine's, baby. Congratulations to them. Hey, if we take a quick look around here, this is the Neon Garage, Johnny, on the other side of these windows outside the garage area. This is where fans can come around high up there. They're waving to us. That's the Neon Garage. That's the special part of Las Vegas Motor Speedway where these fans have access to the guys in the garage.
Wendy, thanks a lot. You know, I always think it's funny when the people hang the pen and the notebook from a string and try to drop it down there to get the drivers to sign it. That's good. Here's old NASCAR Stanley's with us here. When we come back, we're going to take a track preview of this racetrack and see where the rubber hits the road.
Look who's back on top. After a hot start, can Wendy keep the rest of the gang at bay? Or is it one of the boys' turn to play King of the Mountain? Fantasy picks, Vegas style, are straight ahead. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
There's something for everyone at Gander Mountain's Fish Fest, starting the fishing season off right with great deals on name brand sportswear and fishing gear. Shop the all-new Gander Mountain, the stores, the catalog, or gandermountain.com. We are now ready for the third race of the season, and we're at Vegas, baby. The number 18 Las Vegas native Kyle Busch set a new track record on Friday, but the ups and downs of a NASCAR weekend was what he found out later. He got the first pick of pit stalls, but he has to go to the back, and because of an engine change. The 48 then moves up to the front row starting spot. He qualified third, but because that whole inside line moves up, Jimmy will start first. He's had success here. He has won 3 in a row. But Carl Edwards won here last year. We'll see if he can go back-to-back for another backflip here at Vegas. And Matt Kenseth seeks to go where no man has gone before, to victory lane for the first 3 races of the season. Now let's talk about this racetrack and why we see the kind of racing we see here. And Spence, it just lends itself to great finishes. We've seen it lately. We see it often.
And you saw it earlier on the show, and Hermie explained this progressive banking. They've got that from a small track in Denver that started. The key here is it allows for a car to stay on the bottom, and as it starts to slide up, it gets grip. Kenny, the key here is that this track warrants a lot of side-by-side racing, and I think we're going to see that today.
I love this racetrack. I love the design, and I think it's going to get better with time. You know, the older the asphalt gets. There's one little tricky part on this racetrack in the middle of turns 1 and 2, right where the tunnel is. But I got to tell you something. You don't want a perfect racetrack. You want something that's got a little bit of character. So this track's got a little bit of a bump in 1 and 2. And I'm going to tell you what, the race yesterday was crazy. I mean, there was 20-something cars that wrecked out because of being loose. And look at this early in the race. Here's Kyle Busch trying to get by Kevin Harvick. Now watch here. I'm going to lay out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, that's the old car. Look out. It takes out Scott Speed. He gets loose. Here we go. Look. That's because Kevin Harvick did a good job. Now watch this.
Now this here is a momentum pass. Here comes Carl Edwards on the bottom of the racetrack. You will not see this today. You will see them being able to race side by side. Carl does a great job, slows down. If that was a car in a tomorrow race, we saw it at Kansas City, we saw it so many racetracks where Jimmy Johnson and Carl, Atlanta next week. This car of tomorrow is a lot better than this nationwide car simply because it allows these guys side-by-side racing, Johnny. That's what Vegas is going to have today. It's going to be a great race.
So congratulations to the Biff. But what about getting on pit road here? We've seen some guys have trouble.
Well, you got to go into turn 3 as hard as you can. Pretend. Look at this. It's a hard left. This is Brendan Gaughan. Brendan Gaughan running in the top 10 all day long. Look, hey, he's lucky, man. I don't know, maybe he was good. But when you come off of turn 4, you literally got to be on the brakes, turn a hard left. This is a very hard pit road to get on.
Did I tell you that that was a great casino to play at South Point?
His father owns it. Brendan Gaughan's dad owns South Point.
But the pit road is very important. Like you said, Kenny, right there, you'll lose it. You know, probably get a lap penalty or so. The thing here is you got to remember, you're running 180 mile an hour, and all at once you got to get down to 55, Johnny.
And 3 years on this asphalt, it's getting better with age.
Oh, it's getting better with age, you know. And in the nationwide race in practice, I practiced getting onto pit road because I knew there was going to be problems. In our first green flag pit stop, man, I made sure I got through 3 and 4 as hard as I could, got it on, and then I'll tell you what, there's about 8 or 10 cars pit road spinning out.
Now, there was a very scary moment in last year's Las Vegas race, and it involved 4-time champion Jeff Gordon. He got tangled up with Matt Kenseth and hit a part of the racetrack that did not have safer barriers pretty much head on. Jeff said it was the hardest hit he had ever taken, but thank goodness and for this race car that he walked away from that. And in our Advanced Auto Parts explanation, Hermie Sadler gives us one reason why.
We're going to use our Advanced Auto Parts cutaway car to explain one of the reasons why Jeff Gordon was able to walk away from that wicked crash here at Las Vegas last year. And it's something we don't talk about a lot, and that is the seat. This is a Hendrick Motorsports carbon fiber seat. They developed this seat, and they custom fit him to each one of their race car drivers at Hendrick Motorsports. Now, not only the seat has it been developed, but also the way they install them. Engineers have learned a lot about the proper way to install this seat to keep the driver safe when they have a crash. Also, seat belts very important. You can see right here, this car has a 6-point harness. We have the shoulder harnesses, lap belts, submarine belt, a 6-point harness. Very important to keep the driver in the seat and not lunging forward in case of an impact. Another important development, you see the leg braces. I put the steering wheel on so you can really get an idea of how tight the quarters are for the driver's legs. Because these leg braces go all the way to the firewall. So these leg braces very important to keep the driver from banging knees in the event of an impact. So not only have the cars been improved a lot, but also the safety features, including the seat, have come a long way in NASCAR.
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. If you want to be race ready, go to speedtv.com and check out our Advanced Auto Parts virtual car. And you know, those seats aren't cheap. They're very, very expensive. They stay very cool during a very hot race. And if you check out Martin Truex Jr. car, he's got one of those seats, and that's one of the main reasons why these drivers are so safe these days. We'll be back with more Race Day in a moment. Now here in Vegas, if you pick the right winner of the race, you can win a lot of money, but our NASCAR Race Day fantasy picks are for entertainment purposes only. But Wendy Venturini is having the most fun right now. We got to do something about that. And Hermie Sadler was in the basement all year last year, and now he's showing us what's going on. Look at Jimmy Spencer.
Mr. Excitement. Mr. Excitement.
All right, because it doesn't bother me because don't we reset this after 26?
Hey, Spencer.
Maybe.
Jimmy.
Oh, I'll have to change my.
You're going to miss
Wendy, NASCAR may change the rules, but right now you get to go first.
Well, thanks, guys. I like picking first for fantasy picks. It's been, a race that I had to pick third, so I'm glad to be back on top of the standings. I'm going with the guy who is the hometown favorite, Kurt Busch, not Kyle, as you guys might have thought. Now, Kurt Busch will start outside of the front row. His brother Kyle, of course, they qualified 1-2. Kyle will drop to the back, but Kurt Busch is going to get the job done. I talked to Pat Tryson. They feel confident about this race car. The Durango High School graduate just 22 miles away from here. They will all be rooting for Kurt Busch, and so will I, because I'm going to win, and I'm going to be leading the standings next week. Hermie Sadler?
Well, Wendy, as you guys can see, I'm only 4 points out of taking the lead in the fantasy standings after a bad year last year. So I'm pulling out all the stops this year. I brought in a true trained NASCAR professional, my buddy Carrot Top, to help me make my pick. Good to see you.
Thanks for coming to the show last night.
Enjoyed the show last night.
Thanks for buying tickets.
We had a great time. We didn't buy any tickets, but we had a great time anyway. Hey, I need some help. I know you're a big NASCAR fan. Who do I need to pick today?
Well, you know, I know all these guys kind of tough. I don't know how they practice and all, but I know we're standing right by Mike Martin. He's one of the more established good drivers. He's always in it. I like Pop-Tarts.
We like Mark Martin and we like Pop-Tarts. So Carrot Top and I together are picking Mark Martin. Kenny Wallace?
You know, Wendy's telling us how great she is. Hermie's telling us how great he is. But look, nobody better than me, okay?
I love it.
From Vancouver, Washington, ladies and gentlemen, stick with the Biff. Greg Biffle is going to win this race today. Why? because he won yesterday, and plus I say so.
And he could go for a 2. Yeah, he could go for 2. For a lot of guys win on Saturday, win on Sunday, but all you guys are wrong. The winner of this race is going to come from California, Vallejo, California, as a matter of fact. Jeff Gordon in the number 24 will break a 43-race winless streak today because Jeff Gordon is the man.
Well, let me explain something to you. This car, this driver has never finished better than 22nd, 2-2. I'm pulling for the 2 car today. Well, Wendy took her. You know what? I'm going to take Brian Vickers today, simply from the standpoint I like 2-2 on the craps table, and I also have a ticket in my pocket that tells me I will be rewarded if a 2 wins today.
Oh, hey, speaking of ticket, I got a speeding ticket. If there's anybody from California that can help me get out of it, I was doing 87 in a 55.
Kenny, where did that come from? That was just out of left field.
He said ticket, and I thought I need somebody to help me get out of this ticket.
We need to get the structure back in this television show. Let's take a quick look at the picks and who picked whom and what the odds are. Wendy's going for a 10-1 pick. Hermie Sadler 12-1 with the 5. Kenna Wallace is going to stick with the Biff, and my odds are only 5-1 here.
Wow, good decision, Johnny.
I like that. Well, I like that a lot.
I don't like that 50-1.
Yeah,
but you win a lot more money when the long shot comes home.
Well, you know what? You just could well hit on that long shot. Now, in order to win at this racetrack, you got to have your strategy down. Let's now go to Chad Canals for our Sunoco Pit Strategy of the Week.
Okay, coming into Las Vegas Motor Speedway, what's on everybody's mind is just knocking that 17 car off the top of the charts. Well, it's a little bit different here than what we've seen in the past. Obviously, we've got progressive banking here now, seen that for the last few years, but people are still trying to get it figured out. There's only a couple of tracks on the circuit that are quite like this. Coming in here this weekend, we've also got a new tire. So you couple that with all the experience that we gained with the COT cars last year, it's going to make it quite exciting. We don't know if we're going to want to go a full Sunoco fuel run or not on a set of tires, so we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out along with your pit strategy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the race.
Chad, thanks a lot. You know, you can take that advice to the bank because that is a 3-time winning crew chief here at Las Vegas. The sun is high in the sky, and we're about ready to go down to the driver intro areas in just a moment.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help. Brought to you in part by Verizon Wireless, now introducing Friends and Family. Who will you choose? And by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
Next week, we head to one of the circuit's classic tracks, where close finishes are the name of the game.
It's going to be another one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes.
Who triumphs at the Jewel of the South? Live from Atlanta, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, where the action's heating up here at the driver intro area. Ryan Newman joining us on Race Day. Now, Ryan, I've had a lot of Newman fans ask me about your season so far, and I keep just telling them, hang with you, because I think it's pure luck right now that you've had some bad luck.
We have had some bad luck, and this is a business, too, where you do create some of your own luck, but I really believe that a lot of what we had going on is just pure bad luck going back to Daytona. So got a great starting spot today with the way everything works out. We're going to start fourth with the Haas Automation Chevrolet, and do our best to keep our nose clean. It's actually a pretty long race, and it's really fast. The track's really fast here.
All right, you talk about it being a fast track. It's also really slick from what everyone's telling us. Is it difficult to pass here? Talk about trying to get around traffic here.
We saw in qualifying how tight the field was, first to 40th. It's probably the tightest field I've seen in a very long time. So that makes passing and track position, passing very hard, track position very important.
All right, we're here in Las Vegas. I don't know if you're a gambling man, but have you done anything fun in Vegas? We see Carrot Top behind us.
We did go see Carrot Top. Went to see him, went to see Ron White. That was pretty cool. So we've had some fun.
I tried to go to Ron White, and they were sold out. I don't know anyone to get. I'm not famous enough like Ryan Newman.
Well, I'm not going to disagree.
Next time I'll call Ryan if I need tickets. Let's head over to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, standing by Paul Menard. Paul, up and down start to the season this year, but you guys have been fast, especially on tracks like this.
Yeah, I mean, we should have had a couple top 20 finishes for sure, and couldn't quite close the deal in Daytona or California, and really looking forward to this race. I mean, we got it a lot better. Our Ford Fusion is a lot better how we ended yesterday versus how we unloaded Friday, and qualifying we struggled, so we're going to start in the back. and it's going to be a track position race, so we'll have our hands full for sure, but I think the car's driving good, and we'll see how it goes.
Paul Menard, like a lot of other guys, got their work cut out for him trying to start in the back and get to the front. We're going to step over here in just a second and try to get a word with Joey Logano. He's on the radio at the moment, so let me slip over this way. AJ, you mind talking to me?
Sure. What's going on? How you doing? What are we talking about?
We're talking about how well you're going to run today. I know you guys didn't qualify as well as you wanted to. None of the cars did, but how's your car in race trim?
Man, we struggled yesterday. It was tough. You know, we got Harris on the Dodge this weekend, and we want to put on a good show for them. So we struggled a lot. We weren't very happy. The car's been tight the whole weekend, but good thing is on Rispetti Motorsports, we got 3 great teammates. So I think we copied the 9 car, and 37 changes, I think it is. So we'll go down in turn 1 and see what we got.
Talk about this racetrack a little bit, the progressive banking. We hear about it a lot, but it seems to promote a lot of speed and a lot of side-by-side racing.
Yeah, it's definitely a fast racetrack, and I think some of the problem is the fact because it is Las Vegas out in the desert, it's dirty, so it doesn't kind of go up to the top of the wall where you see a lot of these race cars running. It's really 2 grooves. For me, it's my first time here racing, so this is my last racetrack I'd made a cup race at, so I'm excited. Obviously, it's Las Vegas, a lot of people here, so I'm pumped up.
Should be fun to watch AJ make his way to the front. Wendy?
Thanks, Hermie. I'm with David Stremme, who starts 11th here at Las Vegas today. How do you feel about your race car in the conditions that we have here at Las Vegas? We know it's hard to pass a little bit slick.
Well, I think the whole Penske organization has been a lot stronger this weekend. They've done a lot of work over the off season, and our Penske Dodge has been extremely happy with. We tuned on it, and I think the conditions, you know, are going to change a little bit, but we got enough adjustment into it. Feel real happy about things and how they're going today.
All right, good luck to David Stremme. Let's bounce back over to Hermie Sadler.
Standing by Joey Logano. Joey, another racetrack you're really racing at for the first time. How's it been for you this weekend?
Yeah, I think we've done all right here for the first time go around this place. Qualified 20 at the Home Depot Toyota, and yeah, that's improvement. You know, as long as we keep improving every week, you know, if we can improve a little bit from our last finish last week in California and just keep getting better, everything's gonna come along pretty good.
What are you looking for in these cars? Have you found out what's really making you comfortable on these kind of racetracks?
Yeah, it's just a lot of different stuff. They drive so different than any other race car I've ever driven. So it's a feel for it, and you got to go out at a certain pitch of yaw for them to get to work. So yeah, it's just little stuff like that you got to figure out, and then figure out what you want your car to do. So it takes time. I understand that, but you know, you just keep working on it. I'll get there.
The education of Joey Logano continues today. Wendy?
Regan Smith in the race today here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Congratulations, and what are you looking to accomplish today, Regan?
Well, I think if we can have a good, solid day, stay in the top 20 all day, and see where we shake up, that'll be good for the Furniture Row Chevy. The guys did a great job on Friday. I was worried after the first practice. I was like, man, it's not looking too good right now. And Jay Guy and all my guys did a good job making some good changes and adjustments, and I think we got a decent car.
All right, good luck to Regan Smith, and we're going to walk away. You know, I do have to say, Ron White, who's here in the NASCAR garage, I tried getting your tickets last night, dude. You were sold out.
You know what? It's been a lucky little run for me, and it was a great hang. And Michael came out and watched the show, and Kurt Busch came out, and we had a blast, absolute blast.
All right, thanks for joining us here in NASCAR, the NASCAR races, and let's head back to Hermie.
Yeah, I got them lined up here, Wendy, ready to go on the racetrack. First, let's talk to Clint Boyer. Clint, tell me your outlook for the race. How's your car?
I think it's got a lot better in happy hour. Just curious to see what the track's going to do, you know. A lot hotter today, so hopefully we freed it up, you know, anticipating it being tight, so hopefully we guess the right way.
Your turn. How's your car?
We're pretty close to the same. We were real tight in qualifying and worked real hard at trying to get the car to turn better in the race, and yeah, I think we do. And tail end of happy hour, I felt really good about how it turned, so hopefully get the Jack Daniels Chevrolet up front.
And Reed, I'm going down the line here. Tell me about your car for the race day fans.
Well, it wasn't good yesterday. We kind of looked at Casey's car. He was a little bit better than us and tried to migrate a little bit towards that setup. Myself and AJ felt pretty badly about our cars, so we hope we're better today than we were yesterday. We're trying to get a good top 20 finish out of today.
And lastly, Mark Martin, you'll be happy to know I got advice from Carrot Top. We picked you today in our Fantasy Racing League.
That's awesome, man. Our Pop-Tarts car's strong this weekend, and we're learning a lot. Alan and I are learning, you know, how to maximize our deal here. Our car's a lot more comfortable than last week, and we're looking forward to racing every week and getting better.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Mark Martin. Wendy?
All right, Jimmy Johnson, who's also a favorite to win here at Las Vegas today. How are your odds? And by the way, nice drink, because it matches my shirt today.
I'm doing good. We're in much better shape this year than we were last year this time. Schoolball Tools and Paul has been quick, and hopefully we do the right things today to put ourselves in victory lane.
All right, Jimmy Johnson and I, hey, we're going to go to Atlanta next week, and we're promoting Skills USA in Atlanta.
Yes, we are.
Guys, back to you.
Wendy, thanks a lot. We want to say a special thank you to the people at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for being so hospitable to us. Congratulations to Carroll Shelby for landing his name on a race, and thanks to all the fans who joined us out here at the Home Depot stage. Sit back, everybody, enjoy the race on your local Fox affiliate, and we'll see you tonight in Victory Lane.